Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm CU Fantasy and this is my guide to runing. This is a guide directed at newer players, so if you don't know what you're doing with your runes or where to get specific runes, I'm going to be teaching you that. Rune types are either 2 sets or 4 sets. 2 sets means that when you have 2 types of the same rune, you get a bonus effect. For example, this blade rune is a 2 set, and if I have 2 blade runes, then I get a 12% extra crit rate. If you're smart, you should know by now that 4 sets means that if you have 4 sets, then you get this bonus. I'm not going to tell you what rune sets to use for each monster, because every monster is totally different. They each need their unique rune sets. If you have trouble finding which rune set to use for a specific monster, you should just go around and ask. A lot of times rune sets are based off personal preference as well. For example, some people like to use swift sets, and some people like to use violent sets on certain characters. They kind of have the same effect. Swift sets makes it so that your monsters can attack more often, and violent sets give you a 20% chance for your monster to attack again. It kind of balances out over time, and it really depends on your personal preference and the way you like to rune your monsters. So there are 6 rune slots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. For 1, 3, and 5, the stats will always be the same. For example, 1 is always going to be attack, 3 is always going to be defense, and 5 is always going to be HP. For slots 2, 4, and 6, these slots have the potential to be percentage-based stats. Percentage-based stats are almost always better than flat stats. To give an example of this, we'll compare this rune, this 6 rune, with this 1 rune. This 1 rune gives 64 attack damage, and this 6 rune gives 23% attack damage. So if you look at my character's base attack, 646, 23% of that is 148. So this rune gives 148 attack damage, and this rune only gives 64. To determine the rank of a rune, we must first look at the stars. A 6-star rune is the most powerful type of rune, and a 1-star rune is the weakest type. A 1-star HP rune will give 1% HP, and a 6-star HP rune will give 11% HP. If you level it once, it'll give you 1% more HP. So if you level this 1-star rune to +1, it'll give you 2% HP. If you level this 6-star rune once, it'll give you 14% HP. And this number in the end is what happens when you level it to +15. So when you level a 1-star rune to +15, then it'll give you 18% HP, and this 6-star rune will give you 63% HP. The color of the rune indicates how many substats that it gives. So this white rune, since it gives no substat, it's white. For green runes, it gives you 1 substat. For blue runes, they give you 2 substats. For purple, 3, and for orange, 4. This will affect a rune's overall power. However, this isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is the star level of the rune. So when you try to select a rune early on, you should look at the stars first, and then look at the rarity of the rune. When you level up a rune 3 times to +3, it will give you 1 additional substat. So if I level up this white rune to +3, then it will become green. Right now it's +1, +2, and when I raise it to +3, it will give me 1 bonus stat. See, critical damage 5%, and it becomes green. Any rune has the potential to become an orange rune once you level it up to +12. Because every 3 levels it gives you 1 bonus substat. Once it has 4 substats, it'll become an orange rune. Although white runes can become orange runes, the orange runes that are orange to begin with will always be stronger. Because these stats that already come with the rune, when you level this rune up to +3, it'll give you a bonus substats, but that stat will be added on top of these stats. So when you raise this eventually to +12, the substats for this rune will always be better than a rune that is white to begin with. I'll demonstrate by leveling this rune to +3. 1, 2. Alright, now look at these stats. 6%, 3%, 5%, and 7%. See, it gave me more accuracy. This was at 5%, now it's at 11%. So the stats I get when I raise it every 3 levels will be added on top of these stats. It's quite obvious that eventually you'll want 6-star runes for all your monsters. But to get those 6-star runes, you'll need to beat higher levels and harder dungeons. In order to do that, you need to make a pit stop at the 3-star or 4-star range. When you first begin the game, you should stick with your 1-star and 2-star runes and don't level them too much until you have around 2 5-star monsters or so. Once you have 2 5-stars, you should go and do battle on Hell mode in either Garen Forest or Mount Sis, depending on which type of rune you want. For Mount Sis, you can get the Fatal runes, and on Garen Forest, you can get the Energy runes. Most of these monsters will use Energy or Fatal runes, so you can pretty much put them on any monster and it'll really increase the power of that monster. Try to farm specific levels. The first level will drop 1 runes, the 2 will drop 2, 3, and so on. The boss level is labeled 7, but it will drop any type of random rune, and it also drops runes of higher rarity, or it has a chance to drop 5-star runes. So if you farm any of these levels on Hell mode, you'll get 3-star runes or 4-star runes. They usually come white, and you can basically just level them up to +9 or so. Once you have 3-star runes leveled up to +9, you should be able to compete pretty well in the arena or do harder levels in the dungeon. The 3-star range is kind of a sweet spot for the pit stop, because if you look over here, the 3-star runes start out with 4% HP. The 5-star rune starts out with 5% HP, but they each raise by 2. So once you max out the 3-star rune, it will give you 38% HP, and the 4-star rune will give you 40% HP. This isn't that big of a difference because it's only a 2% HP difference, but the cost for leveling that rune and the cost for removing those runes are much higher for 4 stars. So if you have a 3-star rune that's pretty high level, you shouldn't ditch that rune for a 4-star rune immediately. My recommendation would be to stick with a 3-star rune until you can eventually find a 6-star rune, or maybe even a 5-star rune. So as a conclusion, the general steps of what you should do with your runes is, when you first play the game, you'll get 1-star and 2-star runes. You should use those runes, level them a few times, and use them to get through the levels. Eventually you're going to be able to evolve some of your monsters to 5 stars. Once you have about 2 5-star monsters, you should be able to clear Hell mode on the first map. If you're able to clear Hell mode on Garen Forest, at least till level 6, you'll be able to get all the energy runes that you need. If you have a tanky monster, you can put those energy runes on that monster, and he'll be really powerful, and you can go and clear through all these levels for this different types of runes that you need, like Blade here, or Rage runes, or Swift runes. Once you get those monsters runed up properly, you should be able to compete pretty well in the arena, and should be able to hit the 1200 range. Once you're able to hit that range, you'll get more glory, and you'll also have stronger monsters to do higher levels in the dungeon. Eventually, you're gonna have to get a team that can do higher levels of giants. Once you're able to do giants, you should be able to get those 5-stars or 6-star runes. And once you get to that point, I think you'll know what to do from there. So thank you for watching this video, and Happy summoning. Peace.